Billions of years ago, and in primitive mankind's real history, there was a mighty being known as the You Is. Then the great reality was known to all the races of the worlds. This true reality was so real and pure that it forbade the worship of itself as any type of God. It lived in a place far beyond the reaches of all mankind, but it did appear often upon the physical world to prove that it was a true living being. During its sojourn upon this level, it explained carefully to the heads of the many races that it existed because they allowed it to exist. Otherwise, it had no form, no shape, nor any faculties which could be used in transmitting its ideas to men unless they furnished it with them. In other words, it could manifest to men provided they would make use of their imagination. It was only through this faculty that it came to this level. If enough would dwell and concentrate upon it, there would be a matrix, or rather a formula, formed in the psychic worlds, reaching up through the different levels into its reality. It would use this as a way to come through to the lower levels, to manifest upon the earth to man. Its purpose is to share real freedom. The great reality is part of every being. It is the sacred faculty in man called the imagination. This is the true essence in all beings, and it is that part which can draw the is down to earth or take you up to it. This is the greatest of all secrets that I am giving to the two of you. At the time, these rulers of man in the lower worlds wanted to know how the is could walk among them and teach them. So it gave them the true quality of what is termed as the imagination. By taking of itself and placing it within each U-tune. The great reality then returned to its true position in the highest level when it had finished and found that it had given away so much of itself. Now, it became so that it would have to exercise its full ability of creation to once again have all U-tunes return to it. It had possessed all of itself until the moment it was divided among men. Then it positioned itself in the unseen universes, watching over every U-tune that it had originally decided from itself. You might say that I speak with a forked tongue in saying that it doesn't possess its full ability or isness, because it does fully possess it. The great reality made all creation and divided up its creative ability with each U-tune. By doing so, it lost a certain amount of its true essence. But if it decides to, its full isness can be regained from each U-tune. To do so would eliminate the U-tune. The real love that the All-Is has for every being is so great and pure that it is willing to allow others to have the free will it has. The imagination is the only thing which the U-tune possesses that gives it the real freedom it is. Therefore, if you are following me closely, you can see that the great reality cannot do without its own creatures, the real you, nor can you do without it. What I am presenting to you now is a very simplified formula for real success. From the human mind, it would seem to be a jump into the real universes. Not so, as the whole idea of life far surpasses anything that can even be imagined from one's human mind. And it also came to be that when those of the lower realms discovered the true secret of themselves, they instigated the idea of a takeover between them and the all-is, in hopes of actually overthrowing it. These short-sighted creatures contrived and created gods for the lower worlds and put them upon thrones at each level for the unaware people to follow. This portrayal has nothing to do with what the Christians call the devil and his demons. This is the truth of the imaginary faculty which the belief systems will never share with their followers. It then oversaw its provision to all the U-tunes it had given of itself, too. So after the bodily man began to work with their imaginary faculty and used it for self-destruction and the making of material things for man's own particular use, then the great reality, the all-is, completely drove man and his woman out of the beautiful astral realm into a darkened realm of material existence. To this day, mankind struggles and fights his way to re-enter into the unseen worlds because he does not understand the true essence of his own nature. He is controlled through the priestcraft, the materialists, and those few who claim to have rulership in education, politics, religion, and the society of civilized nations. All these and others control his imagination because of all that has been created and showered upon each person. Thus far, there has been no chance for a person to develop themselves toward the level of the great reality. But the time has come, and the golden opportunity is now. Those who preach know very little, mainly nothing at all, about the true reality of the all-is. Instead, they provide torture and preach knowingly and unknowingly the love of the material life as we know it, because they have institutionalized reincarnation for the masses. The idea of a person or so-called savior dying for anybody on a cross or otherwise for their supposed sins is an ignorant belief and altogether a downright silly story. If you have a full understanding of the mechanics of the imaginary faculty and the use of it, you can enter the unseen worlds and eventually the real universes of the is, and be all-knowing, all-aware, and totally free. Rebazar laughed for a moment and then said, "Can you imagine the lower worlds being created by the creatures of the great reality's own creations? This is just about what happened during the early ages of this planet and other worlds like it. After people became aware to use the true reality within them, this planet began to take a shape and was born or formed into a piece of material cosmos. It became this way when the all-is let go of its spark of imagination, and it fell upon the earth with those who began to recognize it, like the morning dew. This is illustrated in the Old Bible when the tribe of Israel awoke one morning to find the desert covered with manna. This is an allegory of the imagination being set forth from the all-is and upon the earth to offset mankind's blind and stumbling ways, and for him to seize and use his abilities for the betterment of himself and others. It is said that the Is called upon a beautiful being to carry its mirror of divine imagination across the fields of light to another part of the unseen worlds. While strolling along the starry path, this being stumbled and broke the mirror into an infinite number of pieces. The tiny pieces fell all the way down into the worlds of people and were found by the luckier ones. Some Utunes never found any of the pieces, and to this day are without any spark of imagination in them. Of course, this is only a wonderful fable, in a sense, but who is it besides the real guides know exactly where the imagination came from and how all things came to be? This then is the part for each person to explore and discover who they really are, aside from the old and outdated documentation of other controlling minds. Until one learns to perceive reality, they are subject to the ideas and whims of others. Real experience always proves everything to a person, and written and spoken material are merely references to something more than what is known in the psych realms. With real guidance from the Is comes real truth and real freedom. Now, the imaginative faculty can be a forked path, or it can be a straight road into the farthest world of the great reality. The imagination can be a negative path with the material worlds, which deals with the dualistic forces of good and bad, right and wrong, or it can be an avenue to real freedom. Regardless, it is the path which all people take, and it is what the real guides use in their upward journey into the unseen worlds. The attitude and assumption constitute, of course, the principles which have been laid down before you. One must assume that he is going to stay with the true reality and adopt the attitude that it is the real thing to do. Then he will become the highest of aware beings throughout all the universes of the real far country. All of us are in the same life, but it is our own personal application to all that we perceive that makes our own life what it is. Anyone can change their life at any time, but to do so takes courage and, above all, the will to go into the unknown realities that are beyond the standard concepts set by others.